Jaimie Schoolcraft, thanks for joining me on the Penguin Magic podcast. It's so cool to have like a coin gaff maker like you on this, because you're like one of those dudes. I mean, like, there's just not many of you guys, right?
No, there really isn't. Mm-hmm. I got started, I guess, at the right time, because I've seen guys come and go. Mm-hmm. You know, I think in the early years, I saw at least 5 to 6 companies open up and then fold up.
Yeah.
In my first opening years, and I just was able to.
It's like such a specialized thing, making
really
coin gaffs. Because like I know Johnson was my first show, and Johnson's like a weird story because they're an aircraft manufacturing company or something like that.
Yes,
and then
they do all kinds of widgets and things like that. Mm-hmm.
But the individual coin makers, and there's more and more cropping up. But it's you guys all must like learn it individually or something.
We do,
like that.
or at least I did.
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody teaching me. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much all self-taught.
You have a background in machining, though?
No. I just like building stuff, so I just figure stuff out.
Wow,
super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you were telling me a story that you were here at Magic Live a few years ago, because we are here at Magic Live. For guys know. But you had set up a mobile machine shop in your hotel room?
Yeah, it was crazy. I was, and I did it for fun, just to be different. Yeah. So I had a portable shop set up in my hotel room. Felt like when we were toting in these, like, they were giant Tupperware containers with machinery in them. I felt like Ocean's 11, man. We're driving all this equipment through the hotel room, and you could almost hear the music in your head, dun, 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 you know, as we're toting these machines.
I muled more than 200 pounds of gear here myself for Penguin Magic. I can't imagine the weight that you brought.
Yeah, it was super funny. And then draped, I had a bunch of painters tarps. Yeah. So we laid all these painter tarps. I laid all the painter tarps over the desk. So I had a place to sit one of the machines so that it caught all the metal chips when I was machining. And I had a whole, and so I was taking orders downstairs and I was building them at night and delivering them the next day. Yeah.
I can't,
super fun.
I can't imagine like walking into a magic convention, into the dealer's room and be like, can you make me a coin gaff? And then getting it.
Coin gaffs to go.
Coin gaffs to go.
It was almost like fast food delivery. Yeah. It was crazy. And
but that was also the year that like a lot of people like really found out about you.
It was like that's when people really found out, because I've been doing this since I think mid 90s. I was in like 95, 96, and I was making all the gimmicks for Dean Dill, and continued that until about 2001, and people started hearing little things. Yeah. But this convention, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% on the year. I think it was 2004. It was the year David Blaine was
it was like a guest of honor.
And I'd never met him. I've done some work indirectly for him, and talked to Michael Weber and said, I'd really love to meet him. He says, dude, he'd love to meet you. And I says, well, I've got a machine set up in my hotel room.
This blew people's minds.
And it's like a little shop, so I'm making the stuff. If he ever wants to come up or whatever, you can check it out. And he said, I think he would love to. So he goes over and talks to me. He goes, oh my God, are you kidding me? Yeah. So this whole group of guys goes upstairs. I'll probably forget some of the names, but
I'm sure none of them will be offended, because that must have been like a wild time for you.
It was. My head was like spinning, because here I am walking down the hallway talking to David Blaine back in the day. Yeah. David Blaine, he's still amazing, but it was like,
he was the guy at the time.
He was the guy. Yeah. I'm like literally shaking. I called my wife, and she's like, calm down. So we all get into the room, and I get set up, and I'm making the gimmicks, and we're all talking. I think Bill Kalush was there, David Blaine, Michael Weber, Phil Verricchio, Derek Hughes, Doug McKenzie.
It's like
it was crazy. So then David Blaine has his phone ring. Yeah. And he goes, hold on a second. And he's talking on the phone, and he goes, I don't know, I'll check. Let me ask. And he goes, hey, Penn and Teller are filming a documentary on the history of magic, and they said, "Hey, would it be all right if they came up?" And I'm like, "What?
No, the place is too full for Penn and Teller."
Yeah, I'm like, "You're joking, right?" Yeah. No, they want to come up. So next thing you know, this whole crew, Penn, Teller, his wife, it was amazing.
Yeah.
So we all went in there, and I asked if I could get pictures. I got pictures of a good majority, if not all of them, with goggles on at one of my machines. And then they continued with this discussion of magic and theory that was incredible. And to be in this room with some of the greatest minds in magic was just, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's wild because this is my very first Magic Live, and I'm just like walking around and meeting and seeing like my heroes, and it's just, I know, like, and that's like a common occurrence here at this convention. But that must have been because that's a private, like, you're in a room with these guys. Literally guys that I've studied their work and read their books, and now they call me and have me make stuff for them. It's just such an honor, and I feel so blessed to be able to do some of the stuff that I'm able to do for people. It's just crazy. Well, and your gaffs are really beautiful. I mean,
thank you.
Really pretty, really well designed and manufactured. So you got started making gaffs like with hanging out with Dean Dill, right? Yeah,
it's interesting how that even happened.
Yeah, how did that happen? Because I knew you guys were friends, and because I mean, like the Dean set and all that stuff, but I don't know the story of how you two connected.
I met through Doug Malloy. I used to work with Doug Malloy years and years ago, and I got into coin magic, and he says, "Oh, you got to see Dean's coin magic. It's amazing." So I met Dean, and I always like building stuff. So I actually started out gaffing cards, and gaffing all kinds of different things. Just always, the more intricate, the more I could build something, the more I could do it.
Do you still gaff cards?
Occasionally, just for fun. You know, I went through Gaff to the Hilt and made everything in the book just for fun. Just because I like craft time. Yeah. So every week I would go to Dean's shop, show him something new that I made. He was like always, "Okay, what's new this week, Jaimie?" Yeah. You know, and I get to meet all these incredible magicians there. And he says, "Man, I really wish you could make this." And he had this little Cocobolo wooden machine container, and he popped it open, and inside was this set of coins called Explosion. And
which is, if you've never seen Explosion, it's
amazing.
It'll turn your mind inside out the first time you see it.
Oh yeah. And he demoed the trick for me, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And then he showed me the set. Yeah. And he says, "Oh man, I wish you could do that." I said, "I could do it." Yeah. I says, "I just don't have the machines to do it." And he goes, "Well, can you get the machines?" I says, "Yeah. I know what it would take. It would take me a couple tries, but I know I could do it." Yeah. And he said, "Well, can you afford the machines?" I said, "I don't have that kind of money right now." And he says, "Well, how much is it?" And I says, "Let me do some research." So I called him, told him how much, and he says, "Can you afford half?" I says, "Yeah." And he says, "Don't mess with me." And I says, "What do you mean?" He says, "I'll go in halves. We'll be partners." Wow. So he bought half of the first batch of tools that I needed to make these gimmicks, and we were like partners. Yeah. And as time went by, I got better and better, and the stuff got better, and the shop started growing. And I said, "Okay, we need another." And he goes, and the one day came, and he says, "All right, Jaimie," he says, "I got to let you go." He says, "I wanted to keep you hidden and all to myself, but," he says, "the time's gone. You just keep the whole shop." So he gave me his half. Wow. And he says, "But the deal is, you know, you still get to you got to make this Explosion set for what we have agreed upon, and continue to do that, and continue to make me whatever coin gimmicks I need." And I said, "Done." And that's how I got started, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
What a generous guy. The more I hear about Dean,
you have no idea.
My biggest regret was when I was living in Los Angeles. I never got down to his barbershop in San Diego, and it was always like, "Oh, I'll get down there," but it was just, you know, it's like people live in Los Angeles for years and never go to Disney World because I'll get there, but I never got to meet Dean. I was, but every story
that man, every day.
His stuff. So did you? I didn't mean to turn this into like a big Dean Dill thing, but no. You made a lot of gimmicks for him.
He made me who I am. He put me on the map. Nobody would know who I am. Nobody know who I am. No, nobody would. Yeah, sure, I make some gimmicks, and a couple of guys would find out about me, but nobody know the way it happened. It just blew up.
So is there any new gimmicks that you were sort of announcing at Magic Live or that you're like working on that it's going to come out?
Nothing like earth-shattering new. It's just some new products that I added, and they're not like new. Like I made a set of the Coins of Ishtar.
Okay. Can you describe that? Because so I'm not terribly conversant in coin magic, and some of our listeners may not have any idea what it is. But can you describe the Coins of Ishtar?
Well, Coins of Ishtar, it's a gaff coin set or a set of coins that you can use to do several routines that are in this book. The book was by Jules DeBarros. I don't know the exact dates. The book was printed way back. I just made the gimmicks and.
What's the main effect that you would do?
It's three. There's a couple of them, but it's basically the set involves 2 copper coins, 2 silver coins, and then 2 gimmick coins. And the 2 gimmick coins are 2 copper silver coins, and they have opposing heads and tails, and just how you maneuver them. And I think it's done on a mat. But I made the set by a friend's recommendation, and then got the book and. Shame on me, I haven't learned the routine yet. So, I just made this set of coins and it literally made the first run a couple of days ago of them, and they came out really, really nice.
Excellent.
And I've aged them and things like that. I have some really neat stuff in the pipeline that are, some of it's not even necessarily coin related. A lot of handmade, one-of stuff. It's going to have inlays and things like that, because I also started making... about 2 years ago, custom pool cues.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's interesting because there's a lot of makers sort of do a kind of stuff, and then you find out a lot of people end up going around and making pool cues. Like I always knew Joe Porper's stuff from his magic stuff, and then I much later I find out his pool cue line is a whole separate thing. Yeah,
so, he actually made the Porper case. I mean, the pool case. I knew about that before I met Joe.
Yeah. So you're a big pool player, presumably?
Yeah, I love pool.
Love pool? Okay, making your own cues is a no-brainer for you.
Well, it was always something that I wanted to do. The only reason I started making them is because I wanted one pool cue that was custom that I made. So I could play with a pool cue that I made. And it just happens to play really, really good.
Any magic pool cues coming out?
I wish I could figure out a trick with them. I actually I did... back in the days of hanging out with Dean, we came up with a routine where it was a 3-card Monte routine, and instead of having playing cards on the other side, it was a picture of an 8-ball. So it was follow the 8-ball, and as a wand I had a miniature pool cue that screwed together, and we had this pattern of a trick shot, and it would do all these things, and it was it's a 3-card Monte routine that used a paperclip, and then you eventually just start eliminating cards, eliminating a box, where it's just one thing left. And then at the end, when you pull the paperclip off the card, you say the paperclip held the 8-ball, and then when you pull the paperclip off the card, the 8-ball falls off of the card, and it's a real 8-ball, and you turn it over, and the card was blank.
That sounds awesome.
It was super fun. Yeah, it was one of my favorite routines to do when I was doing restaurants.
Well, Jaimie Schoolcraft, thanks for sitting down with me, and thanks for that amazing story. And if you're listening to this, you need to check out the gaffs from Schoolcraft, because they're really beautiful and really fantastic gaffs. I mean, I hope one day to own a set of my own. So
I'm sure you will. And it's a dark road. Everybody that does, they go down that rabbit hole, and they got to take out mortgage on their house.
Well, I'll let you go because I know the dealer's room is about to open, so you got to get down there and take care of stuff. Thank you very much.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you.